I spent 10 years under the hoods of so many vehicles, dealing with rusted bolts and smashing my knuckles. And now, 2.5 years later, I'm getting back in the game with Car Mechanic Simulator 2026. There are a lot of things in this game that I think they did a great job. Now, just being a prior mechanic, there are some things that kind of bugged me a little bit. One thing I'm really excited for is the 150 plus vehicles that are promised to be on the release. In the demo, you could see a good handful of those. One thing I could really appreciate is how the parts are unique to every vehicle. There's not a part that'll fit a Honda Civic that'll also fit a F-150. Another cool thing is how you can customize your shop. There's so many different things that you could do to make the shop your own. You could put in different lifts, you could put in drains, you could decorate the walls, whatever you want to do. Put in a vending machine. Whatever you want, that'll make it your own space. I also really like all the upgrades you could do to vehicles. In previous games, you had to completely swap out engines to make them boosted. In this one, you could slap a turbo or supercharger on whatever you want. And my want to be able to upgrade the vehicles makes me complete more jobs more quickly so I can make more money for those upgrades. A more aesthetically pleasing part of the game is the day-night cycle. I left the bay doors up while I was working on a vehicle trying to diagnose it, and the next thing I look up and it's completely dark outside. It made me think, oh shit, I gotta get this done. Another neat thing that you might find annoying, but I think is pretty cool, is the wait for parts. You could wait a long time if you want, or you could expedite it, but it's gonna cost you. Is it worth getting the parts a little extra early, just so you can get the job done faster? In most cases, I've found yes, it is. Another great thing you could do in this game is test drive the vehicles you're gonna be working on. You could start outside your shop and take a lap and just haul ass, and you will find all the things that are wrong with it. It'll cycle through and tell you everything, how the suspension is, how the engine is, brakes, you name it. It'll give you a really good starting point on where to diagnose it. Now, speaking of diagnosing, you don't really diagnose in this game, at least not in the way that I'm used to. In the real world, you don't just rip a part out and say that it's bad and throw a new one in, hope that it's gonna fix it. That's how you end up going through a lot of money and a lot of pissed off customers. The proper way to diagnose stuff is to listen to it. Look at all the components. Shake it down. Move wires. Plug a computer in. And always trying to test multiple times in different ways to make sure you know what the problem is before you pull the trigger and buy the part. In this game, all I've done so far is start from the front of the vehicle, ripping and tearing all the way to the back of the vehicle to figure out what was wrong with it. The only diagnosis I see is when you take a part off, it tells you in the top corner what percentage it's good. That's it. No hooking up computers, no testing resistance, no checking if it's bent or broken, just a percentage. I understand why they did it, because it would put a lot more extra in the game that would make it a lot more confusing, and people really aren't looking for that whenever they go to play a game. But as a prior mechanic, it irks me when I see it. Another weird thing in this game is how you fill stuff up. It is not how I was ever taught. An example of this is if I was replacing the brake fluid in the reservoir, I would check to see where the line's at, pull the bad fluid out, put new fluid in to where the line was when I started. That way, next guy down the road, when he throws new brake pads in, it's not gonna blow brake fluid all over the place because they're way thicker than the worn out ones that you were using. But in this game, for some reason, you pull the fluid out like normal, but when you put the fluid back in, you don't go to the line that it was at. You don't go to the fill line. You go until it's overflowing. Now, I know that's a small complaint, and that's really all my complaints for this game are small complaints. The game is great. It's just those little things that just rub me the wrong way a little bit. Something that I do know is not a me problem is going from part to part on the vehicle. If I want to go from this tie rod to this tie rod, I can't just back up and look over and go over to it, because my camera won't go that far. I have to instead hit the sway bar, go over to the sway bar, hit the starter, go to the starter, until I can find the other tie rod till I could finally click on it and go over to that. There's a lot of times where you're trying to just navigate through it and it just feels really clunky trying to get from one end to the other. All right, enough of the negative. This is still a great game, and another great feature that they added was co-op mode. Now, I kind of live in the woods and don't have good enough internet to play with friends, but if you have friends, this would probably be great to play with them. One person can tackle one side while the other person tackles the other. You could build cars together, race them, because I know there's a lot of tracks in this game. That's something that sounds great. And I know that there's gonna be a lot of friends that are playing this game together, making cool cars, and probably screaming at each other for doing stuff wrong. Why'd you take that part off? That was good. I just put that there. Where'd you put that? Did you drain the oil? Yeah, I drained the oil. You didn't drain the oil. Silly stuff like that. Now, speaking of racing, there's 3 different tracks in this game. There's the racetrack, there's the rally track, and there's the airport for some sick drag races. If you're looking for an in-depth tutorial on how to be a mechanic, this is obviously not going to be it. But if you want to play a mechanic, and you want to build cool cars and race them fast and make money, this is it.
I want to go fast.
This is the best example of exactly that since probably the last mechanic simulator. To all the mechanics out there, am I going crazy for all the things that bug me, or am I completely justified in this? And for the mechanics and non-mechanics, I want to hear, what kind of car are you upgrading first? Once the full game's released, I really want to do a tuner and a muscle car. Oh, and in case you're wondering, favorite tuner, 1996 RX-7 FD. Favorite muscle car, 1956 Corvette. Both classic beauties. And maybe one day I'll have one. All right, that's gonna do it for me. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any more demo deep dives. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.